Hey everyone, welcome to the All About Auburn podcast. I'm going to give you my takeaways from today's game. I was going to wait, but I'm going to go ahead and do it since it's fresh on my mind. I'm hearing a lot of people say, yeah, it's just Akron. I don't care if we played the school for the deaf, dumb, and blind. When you play a bad team, you go out there and you humiliate them. That's exactly what Auburn did from the opening snap. Auburn won 60-10 in Brian Harson's first game as Auburn head coach. Defense played phenomenal. Offense played phenomenal. Special teams did very good, other than Honors Carlson's missed field goal. Very uncharacteristic from him. I'm going to go over some of the stats. Okay, team stats. Auburn had 613 yards. I can't tell you the last time we had that many yards. 297 came on passing. 316 came on rushing. We averaged 10.4 yards per play. That's great. Going to Akron, they had 188 total yards, 191 passing. We held them to -3 rushing yards. Now, most of that is obviously because of tackles for loss, sack. We lived in their backfield. That they were outmatched in pretty much every way possible. And they actually had the ball for 11 more minutes than we did. They led the time of possession pretty much because we was scoring so fast. I mean, let's go some stats. So Bo Nix, 20 for 22. He actually set the school record for a game of completion percentage in Auburn history. You have to have a minimum of 20 completions. 275 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Bo looked good. He set his feet. He looked poised. He looked confident. Hartson said in his presser that everybody sees that, but they don't see the leadership inside, the huddles and on the sidelines. So, Bo's taking that big step, be a leader. Also, I want to shout out my boy Caesar on the War Report. He got a question in talking about some of Bo's deep shots. Had Brian Harson answer, but shout out to them. Shout out to the War Report. I thought that was pretty cool. TJ Finley went 2 for 5, 22 yards. Finley kind of looked like a statue out there, man. But five passes, small sample size. I'm not going to judge him off of that. But I didn't really like the way he looked in the pocket. He kind of looked like he had stones for feet, but small sample size. I'm just glad he got in. Tank Bigsby, 13 carries, 119 yards. He averaged 9.2 a carry. That's ridiculous. He had 2 touchdowns. Jarquez Hunter, the true freshman, 9 carries, 110 yards. 12.2 average with a touchdown. Nix had 32 yards rushing. Shivers, he only ran the ball twice. His first one, I believe, was like a 2 or 3 yard loss in the backfield. His second one, he broke away and took it to the house with that speed. Sean Jackson, I wasn't too familiar with this guy, so he's a walk-on. He's a true freshman. I want to say he's like 6'6", 6'1", 235. Dude's a bulldozer. He had some good runs. He only ran the ball twice. One of them, though, he ran up the middle, and I want to say it's a linebacker. He bulldozed a linebacker. I was like, man, who is this kid? But he looked good. They got Robertson, the transfer from Georgia. They let him get a carry. TJ Finley got a touchdown on a quarterback sneak. Yeah, when he dove out, he jumped like 5 yards. Good to see that. Shedrick Jackson led the team, 5 receptions, 79 yards. I thought he had a hell of a game. When the passes were there, the only person that dropped the ball was Kobe Hudson, and then Bo overthrew him a little bit on another one. That's where your 2 incompletions came from. Shanker did good. He had 5 catches. Javarius Johnson had a good game. 5 catches, 3 catches, 51 yards, a touchdown. Hudson had a touchdown. Shivers had a receiving touchdown. Ended up running somebody clean over. They spread the ball around really, really well. On the defensive side of the ball, Hall led with 4 tackles, a sack. I'm just going to go over well, it doesn't show the tackles for loss on this spreadsheet, but everybody got involved. Burks had 2 sacks. T.D. Moultrie had a sack. Wooden had a sack. Harris had a sack. For a minute I thought this was the what was it, the 2006-2007 Iron Bowl, 12 sacks in the game. I thought, let's see, we ended up with 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 sacks. I mean, they showed out. I thought Kaufman did good on his kick returns, 3 returns, 61 yards. Carlson had that 44-yard field goal. He did miss that. He did miss that extra point. Like I said, very uncharacteristic. But anyway, I mean, we held them to negative 2 or 3 yards rushing. That's crazy, man. I didn't even know that. I know. So Georgia beat Clemson. They held Clemson to 2 yards rushing. Completely different team. The talent gap. Like I said, I don't care if who you're playing. If you're doing stuff like that, that means something. This team had a different swagger. You could tell they had confidence. It was refreshing for me to watch a game and to see the offense, and for me to not know what in the hell they were about to do, because I didn't have a clue. Nobody watching the game had a clue. They went 11, 12, 13 personnel. There was 3 tight ends on the field at a time at certain points. They had down fullbacks. I mean, man, they showed it all as far as personnel. When they said multiple, like a multiple offense, I mean, they meant it. They meant that. It was. I loved the way the defense played, the tenacity. Second string, we kept a couple stars here and there in. Getting into the latter portion of the game, they stood their ground for the most part. They did end up giving up 10 points, but but that's ain't nobody worried about those. Vegas has by 5 touchdowns. We beat them by 50 points. Our first team allowed 0 points. But the schemes, a big shout out to Harsin, Mason, Coach Mason, and Coach Bobo. Man, Bobo's, what he drew up for this game, just, like I said, you had the jet sweeps, you had some trickery, you had the play action rollouts to hit the tight end, sliding right. You had everything in this game. The defensive sets, I mean, looked amazing. As far as what I'm pretty much convinced Colby Wooten and T.D. Moultrie, and so some of those guys, there's so many names to mention on that defense, man, that they're all good, they're all talented. Zeke Walker he had some good moments. J.J. Pegues got in, but I'm pretty much sold that those edge rushers are going to be damn near unstoppable to block. I don't care who they're playing. Now, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go around the SEC, kind of tell you who won, who lost, who looked like shit. I mean, and there's a bunch of them. So this one of my biggest takeaways is we played a bad team, we humiliated a bad team. Some of these teams around the conference, around the nation, struggled with bad teams. At the end, Tennessee beat Bowling Green. Going into the third quarter, that game was neck tight. Tennessee ended up slaughtering them, 38-6. Good game. Tennessee actually surprised me that they started looking pretty good. Let me go down my list. Kentucky took damn good care of L.A. Monroe. I don't know what this point spread on that game, 45-10. And I do want to talk real quick about Penn State and Wisconsin. That was, when I woke up, that was obviously the first game on my mind. Because we play them not this week. We have Alabama State. And then we go at Penn State to a wideout game. Probably going to be prime time. I'm assuming college game day may be there. Penn State did not. They did not impress me at all. The offense looked mediocre at best, and that's a compliment. Defense looked absolutely terrible. Wisconsin's not a great offensive team. I will say this: second half, near the getting to the end of the fourth quarter, Penn State picked it up a little bit. That defense, bend but don't break. They kept saying that the whole game: bend but don't break. And that defense did step up. And they have a hell of a secondary. They have some good linebackers. And at the end of that game, their defensive front, look, Wisconsin ran the ball like 60 times, so I know their offensive line was exhausted. But that's here nor there. But Penn State's D-line did start punishing them near the end of the game, and they ended up winning 16-10. Oklahoma almost lost to Tulane, 40-35. Yeah, you're not a number 2 team. I don't think you should be a number 10 team. That, for anybody that watched the game, this is Oklahoma of last year. This is some of those Oklahoma teams we've been seeing for a decade. Can't tackle, busted assignments, just piss poor defense. The offense can only get you so far. Oregon almost lost to Fresno State. They pulled that one out 31-24. Arkansas was losing to Rice for most of the game. Arkansas pulled it out 38-17. They didn't fully embarrass the SEC. Alabama absolutely destroyed Miami from the coin toss. The game, it's 44-13. The game wasn't even nearly that close. Saban and them took their foot off the pedal. They started playing some softer coverages, and Miami kind of, had a couple decent drives. That game was nowhere near as close as the score indicates. Alabama's for real. You all know I'm a huge Auburn fan. Alabama's for real. That defense is nasty. Bryce Young looked good. Robinson, their running back, is an absolute beast. They still got Mechie. He looked damn good. They got a couple receivers I've never even heard of, but that's what they do. They plug and play. They lose some, and then they plug somebody else in just as good. Alabama's for real. But we have a long time before we play them, and they have a long time before they play us. So Missouri barely pulled away from something called Central Missouri. Is it Central Missouri or Central Michigan? Yeah, Central Michigan. They beat them by 10 points. I thought Missouri was going to be one of the best teams in the East, which they still could. But, yeah, that's kind of disappointing. Mississippi State, if I'm not mistaken, Mississippi State was getting beat by like 20 points or somewhere around there. They ended up pulling out by 1 point at home, 35-34 against La Tech. Yeah, not too worried about them this year. South Carolina, see, this is what I'm telling you. When you play a bad team, you go in there, you kick their ass, hope you don't get injuries, you let your backups play, and you go home and prepare for next week. South Carolina beat Eastern Illinois 46-0. Eastern Illinois, not a good team, obviously. South Carolina went in there, handled business. That's what it's about. Florida, they were struggling pretty heavy with Florida Atlantic for most of the game. They ended up pulling out 35-14. I'm not sold on Florida. I'm not sold on a bunch of these teams, honestly. It is week 1. You got to work out some kinks. But when you play a team like that with the talent gap, it shouldn't even be close. Like I said earlier, Georgia knocked off Clemson. Pretty boring game. The only touchdown scored, Georgia got a pick 6. DJ, I'm going to mess up his name, but that's what I'm here for. Uiagalelei. I'm going to call him DJ. He did not look good, which I told some buddies before the game. Georgia may have the best defense in the country, and I don't even think it's close. Their secondary looks good. Their linebackers are elite. Their defensive line is absolutely nasty. They got, I can't remember the guy's name. I think it's number 99, like 6'6", 350 pounds. Dude moves like a damn defensive end. He just wreaked havoc all over them, which I told some buddies before the game, there's no way in hell Clemson's offensive line can block the defensive front. And Georgia threw a bunch of little stunts and delayed blitzes at them. The boring game, good SEC or SEC top game. But anyway, Georgia got the win. I think Georgia should move up to number 2. Texas A&M beat Kent State 41-10. Pretty much rode the struggle bus for a little bit in that game. But they pulled it out by 31 points. You play a pretty bad team. Kent State isn't the worst team of all time, but 31 points, you take it. So Vanderbilt got beat by something called East Tennessee State, whatever the hell that is, 3-23 at home. I mean, come on, man. Also, I called this one. Me and a couple buddies talked about it. I called this one. UCLA upset. Well, we can call it an upset. Upset LSU 38-27. Mark my words, this will be the year we go into Death Valley and not beat LSU, but curb stomp them. Write it down, bet your things on it. And then our last SEC game of the week will come on Monday. Louisville at Ole Miss. I know a lot about Louisville. If I was a betting man, which I am, I'd put my money on Ole Miss. I like the high-powered offense. Now, the defense, if you're an Ole Miss fan, you hope to see some improvement there. Or let's just face it, once you get into conference play, you're in some big trouble. But I would assume that Ole Miss can take care of business there. I'm going to try to do this, just about every week. Some people may not give a shit. Some people may kind of go around the league. Mostly focus on the SEC teams, our conference. But some of these games I have to mention. Just like UNC losing to Virginia Tech. I mean, that down goes number 10. And if Oklahoma doesn't drop out the top 5, I'm come on now. But anyways, like, dislike, comment, subscribe. War Damn Eagle, I'm looking forward. I haven't taken a very good look at Alabama State. I really don't know what they have. I'm curious to see what kind of game plan we go in with. I'm going to assume it's something similar. But here's my thing. So, usually, when you play teams like that, you don't want to show much, right? So, if we're showing stuff like this, what are we saving for Penn State? Is what I'm thinking about. I mean, what are we possibly saving? Because I don't see many more wrinkles they could throw. Anyways, hell of a job. Good win. Akron or not, good win. War Damn Eagle.